Hello and welcome to the 8th day of the study of the book The Baha'i Faith and Introduction by Gloria Fezi. Today we are going to study the third session from part 2, the teachings of Baha'u'llah. Investigation of truth. Baha'u'llah is one in the line of successive messengers of God on earth. Like other founders of religion before him, he had been entrusted with a particular mission which will guide humanity on a further stage of his spiritual and social development. He is neither the first nor the last of those who have brought God's teachings to mankind, but he is the one who has been chosen to give the guidance of God for this particular age. The messengers of God in the past have each given as much as people were capable of understanding at the time, but they have all prepared their followers for the day when they would be able to receive more. The time would come, they promised, when the call of God would be raised for all the human race to hear, and people would respond from all parts of the earth. Baha'u'llah says he had come in fulfillment of that promise. Verily, I say, this is the day in which mankind can behold the face and hear the voice of the promised one. The call of God had been raised, and the light of his countenance had been lifted upon man. It beloved every man to blot out the trace of every idle word from the tablet of his heart, and to gaze with an open and unbiased mind on the signs of his revelation, the proofs of his mission, and the tokens of his glory. Gleanings from the writings of Baha'u'llah. The claim which Baha'u'llah has advanced is no ordinary claim, and he does not ask anyone to accept it without serious investigation. Indeed, one of his most important teachings is on the subject of independent investigation of truth. In the days of Baha'u'llah, people accepted what they were taught in the name of religion without questioning, as many still do. But Baha'u'llah said, every man or woman is responsible for what he is or she believes and should not blindly imitate anyone. One of the reasons why people are so divided in their views on religion is the fact that they have been raised in one or another of the many traditions in the world and follow it without thought. If people would forsake their prejudice and investigate truth with an open mind, they would become united because truth is the same wherever it is taught. Abdul Baha says, light is good in whatsoever lamp it is burning. A rose is beautiful in whatsoever garden it may bloom. A star has the same radiance if it shines from the east or from the west. Be free from prejudice. Baha'u'llah and the New Era. We can learn a great deal from the mistakes people have made in the past if we stop to think about the reasons why none of the founders of the world's great religions were accepted by the people of their own time. It was much later that their station was generally recognized, when royal princes and learned philosophers were proud to be known as their followers. In the beginning, most people accused them of being false prophets and did all they could to suppress their teachings. Why has it been so difficult for people to recognize these divine educators when they first appear? Some of the reasons are these. They have always come at a time in history when a spiritual winter has set in, and very few people are aware of the need for fresh guidance from God. Most people are confident that they can solve their problems without His aid. There are those who have either completely lost interest in a superhuman power or are quite prepared to wait until they die in order to find out if such a thing really exists. In the meantime, they are sure they know how to conduct their lives on this earth without outside interference. Others believe God saw the way people should live centuries ago and provided them with all the teachings they could ever need to know. They see no necessity for Him either to repeat Himself or give fresh guidance for each age. If there are any further lessons for people to learn, they say they can all be found in the scriptures of their particular faith. The fact that there are hundreds of conflicting interpretations by those who have sincerely set out to understand their scriptures does not seem to disturb him. There are others still who take the signs given in their holy books quite literally and expect God to manifest Himself in some extraordinary way with strange and miraculous outward signs. They would not be prepared to investigate the claims of anyone who did not come as they expected. What is more, when the one they are awaiting does appear, he should confirm what they already believe and punish the rest of the world for not having listened to them. There is little wonder then that God's messenger has always been rejected by the people of his time. He neither appears as they expect him to, nor does he say what they wish to hear. It would be foolish, of course, to accept anyone as God's mouthpiece on earth without being absolutely sure of his station. There have always been false prophets, and there always will be. What can be learned from the lessons of the past, however, is that we cannot hope to recognize the messenger if, for some reason or other, we are not prepared to investigate his claim in the first place, or if, having decided to see what he has to say, we then expect all his teachings to correspond with our own views. The seekers of the truth cannot afford to set out with any preconceived ideas. He must be completely unbiased and ready to look into any matter presented to him with an inquiring mind, not reject it at once because it conflicts with his own beliefs. He must be fair in his judgment, making full use of his God-given intellect and reasoning powers, rather than relying on ideas inherited from others. Above all, he needs to be humble, for without humility he will never reach the goal. Realizing that this understanding is limited, no matter how learned he may be, he will not try to weigh the guidance of God with his own deficient standards. How often is the past, the literate but pure in heart have had the spiritual insight to recognize the messenger of God, whilst the learned men of their age were deprived of this understanding. As far as we can see, there have been definite signs which distinguished a true prophet from false ones. The messenger of God is prepared to endure great sufferings for the sake of those he comes to save. His boundless love is poured upon friends and merciless foes alike. His teachings can transform criminals into saints and cowards into brave heroes who, following in his footsteps, forget themselves in the joy of serving others. His knowledge is far above that of the most learned men of his time, yet he is meek and humble. He stands alone with all the powers of an unbelieving world arrayed against him and rises triumphant from their midst. If all these signs are to be found in one man, it is wise to take notice of him, for he may be what he claims. The holy books of the past, which warn us against false prophets, also give us an infallible standard by which we can recognize the true one. We shall know him by the fruits of his life and teachings, for it is impossible to gather good fruit from a thorn bush.